Please welcome the 81st President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Reno Mayor Hillary Schieve.
How's everyone doing? You made it. You woke up. I'm so impressed. How about that weather? Wasn't it? Yeah, that was pretty unbelievable. All right. Before we begin our business session this morning, I have the honor of introducing a very special dignitary, the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. We are incredibly honored to hear from the ambassador, to learn the latest from the front lines and how we can continue to support Ukraine. Please give a huge warm welcome to Her Excellency, Oksana Markarova. Thank you.
Hello and good morning to all of you from Washington, D.C. Dear Madam President, dear mayors, dear friends of Ukraine. It's such an honor and pleasure to be able to address you online today. I wish I could be there in person. And just last February, I enjoyed hospitality of Mayor Lucas and wonderful community in Kansas City during my visit. Let me start by saying thank you to the Conference of Mayors and to Executive Director Tom Cochran for all the tireless support that you have provided to us during this horrible 2 years of full-fledged war. Every voice of every mayor has been so important, and your collective voice has been irreplaceable here in Washington, D.C., as we fight for our freedom, for our democracy, for our homes, for our loved ones. You as mayors understand that more than anyone else, and you are the closest to people as Ukrainian mayors. You have been a tireless advocate for this fight, not only because you support Ukraine, but because you understand how important it is for all of us who believe in the same values, how important it is for Ukraine and US to win in this fight of democracies against autocracies. And as we see war criminal Putin traveling to North Korea, dealing and having agreements with Iran and other terroristic regimes, it's important for all of us to stay together. So again, thank you for inviting me to address you as you discuss so many important issues for American citizens, for your citizens. As we mark today the 851st day of the full-fledged phase of this war, which has actually started in 2014, and we have been fighting for more than 10 years, but especially in the full-fledged phase during the last 2 years, the fight remains very difficult. Russia's brutal attack is ongoing everywhere in Ukraine, and it's the largest conflict and war we had in Europe since the World War II. Now, when they attack our cities or press along a very long front line of more than 800 miles, they do not discriminate, and they, frankly, target civilians more than anything else. Only 3% of Russian attacks actually were against the military infrastructure. 97% of the attack is against the civilian infrastructure, hospitals, schools, residential areas. Our largest cities like Kyiv, Dnipro, Kharkiv, Lviv are under constant attack. Some of them, like Kharkiv, daily are being attacked by different types of artillery shells. Our smallest cities, like Bakhmut, Mariinka, have been completely destroyed. And unfortunately, so many of our cities and towns and villages still remain under brutal Russian occupation. And unfortunately, we all have seen what comes with this occupation. We all have seen the horrible war crimes after we liberated Bucha, after we liberated Kherson, civilians tortured, raped, killed, mass graves. And unfortunately, we can be sure that this is what is going on still in Mariupol, Melitopol, and so many of our cities that are still under Russian occupation. Not to mention our civilians and also prisoners of war, our defenders, who are taken by Russians and who violate all rules of the Geneva Convention. And every time we get people back in the exchanges, more than 97% of those endured some tortures while in Russian captivity. Now, I will just give you a couple of numbers, which I'm sure you heard before, but they shock me even when I say them all the time. During these 2 years of full-fledged war, Russia has destroyed 160,000 civilian objects. 130,000 of those are residential buildings, 3,200 are educational, and 754 medical institutions. On top of that, 184 destroyed buildings are religious buildings, churches and prayer houses. And today, as we celebrate, the Eastern Christians celebrate Pentecost today in Ukraine, the Ukrainian churches are being destroyed by Russians, and Ukrainian priests are being taken into captivity and tortured as well. Now, Russia still occupies the nuclear station, Zaporizhzhia nuclear station, which is the largest nuclear station, not only in Ukraine, but in Europe. And I can go on and on and on to tell you about horrible state of this war. And yet, despite of the fact that Russia is so much bigger, Ukrainians did not surrender in 2022. Ukrainians did not surrender during this very difficult 2 years, and we do not intend to surrender. We already liberated more than 50% of what Russians occupied since the beginning of this horrible aggression. We have already liberated the Black Sea and resumed export of Ukrainian food, which is so much needed in many other countries, but also is very important to generate Ukraine's revenues and to be able to pay for our citizen and not to request more and more from our partners. We also are working hard to confiscate Russian sovereign assets and to increase sanctions so that Russia will pay for this aggression. And there will be justice not only on the battlefield, but also elsewhere. Now, let me again say how important the US support has been during these 2 difficult years. The support of President Biden administration, Congress on a very strong bipartisan basis, and every American citizen has been critical. We will never forget this support. The supplemental that was adopted by the president, which came after difficult discussions and some very valid discussions, of course, has been very instrumental in getting more weapons and getting more support and being able to turn the tide again and continue liberating our land and our homes. And the voice of the Conference of Mayors have been critical. Your open letter last November have been heard loud and clear here in Washington, D.C. And a number of people on the Hill have told me how important it was for them to read your voice. So please stay vocal, stay supportive. We really appreciate this support, and the war is not yet won, and we need to win it for the sake of all of us. But while supporting us on this very important fight in the war, I would also ask you to double down on your efforts to create irreplaceable bonds between your cities and Ukrainian cities. We have had so many sister cities between Ukraine and US. And those bonds that were created between Ukrainian mayors and you, between Ukrainian schools and American schools, hospitals, are very valuable. These people-to-people exchanges mean a lot now, and they will mean even more in our post-war reconstruction, where we all together can build and cooperate to the benefit of both of our countries. So many Ukrainian cities are looking for sister cities now, and please consider not only your administration of the Conference of Mayors and the committee, but also Ukrainian embassy here as your embassy. Please reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to organize any visits of you to Ukraine or establish these friendships which will last forever. Again, thank you very much for your support. Have an excellent day today and good discussions. God bless America and Americans for all your support. And let's stay together because we're stronger together.
the wonderful ambassador to Ukraine. Oh, I can see you now. I love this. Okay. Okay, here we go. To start our business session, this is our parliamentarian. How do we say that? Oh, I did. Okay, Tim, you've been with us before.
Many times. I was born here.
I was born here. I love it. Okay. Because we will be considering resolutions this morning, I urge you to review the section in your program that explains the credential process, page 5, or look in the notices section of our app. Please make sure you have your credential card in hand to be counted during any votes. Okay, let's now begin the business session. I'd ask that mayors please keep their remarks concise. Sounds like a council meeting. I'd ask my council members, please keep your remarks concise. We know the rules. If there is no objection, debate will be limited to 2 speeches of 2 minutes per mayor per question. As there are no objections, the rule is adopted for this meeting. The first item of business is to consider the resolutions before us, which, if passed, will become the official policy of the United States Conference of Mayors. The resolutions have come from the standing committees. The full membership may also consider any new resolution proposed by a member mayor at this session. Consideration of new resolutions requires 2/3 vote of members present and voting. Any new resolutions will be considered after voting on all resolutions approved in the standing committees. At this time, the chair would like to know if any member mayor is offering a new resolution. Any new resolutions? Mayors are so easy, okay. The United States Conference of Mayors Executive Committee allows mayors to record a no vote on a specific resolution that is adopted in either a committee meeting or the business session during the annual meeting. In both cases, the mayor must be present for the vote. For a committee-passed resolution, the mayor also must be a member of the committee. This rule will not change the voting results on a resolution. To register a no vote on a resolution that passes during the business session, go to the resolution section in the 92nd annual meeting section of the app and tap the resolution on which you wish to vote. A vote button will be visible at the lower portion of the screen. Mayors, their staff, or their city representative will have until 5 p.m. Central Time today to register their no vote. The resolutions will be considered committee by committee in order listed in the app. The procedure, which as follows: first, the chair of each committee or designee will make a brief presentation of that committee's resolutions and then move forward on their adoption. Next, I will ask for a second. Then I will ask if any member mayor wants to have an individual resolution pulled for special consideration. Once the resolutions to be pulled have been identified and set aside, we will vote on the remaining resolutions for the committee as a block. We will go through this procedure for all standing committees. Then we will have a discussion on all the resolutions pulled for special consideration, followed by a separate vote on each one. After that, we will take up any new resolutions. If parliamentary, did I say? Parliamentary.
Parliament and then tree.
Parliament and then tree. Okay. Parliamentary issues should arise during our debate. We have a professional parliamentarian present who will be able to assist us in resolving them. You're like the peacemaker. Maybe we should have one of you at every council meeting. Okay. Next up is Mayor Scott Brook of Coral Springs, who I love and adore, from the Children, Health, and Human Services Committee. All right, I now call Scott Brook. Where are you?
All right, I'm here.
There you are. There you are.
Thank
You woke up this morning for us. I love it. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. The Children, Health, and Human Services Committee met on Friday, June 21. We considered 13 resolutions that were submitted in a timely manner. The committee reported out 12 resolutions, and Resolution 13 was tabled. I move to adopt the following resolutions, 1 through 12.
All right, great work. So I have a
you.
motion. Do I have a second? What's up with this? Wake up. Don't you love that, Mayor Brook? You're like, they don't
stunned
believe
them.
in me.
I stunned them. Tito's
right.
like, what?
Okay, so I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right. Motion carries. Okay. This is a little weird to do it up here on this thing, but because usually you have the agenda, so just follow with me. Okay. We will begin with the mayor of Tempe, Arizona, Corey Woods, vice chair of the Community Development and Housing Committee. Mayor Woods, good morning.
Good morning,
I
Mayor
feel like I
Sheehy.
haven't seen you this whole time.
I know, we were kind of in that little torrential downpour thing going on last night. We were all kind of running for our lives, I guess. So
We were, okay, go right ahead. Please give us your report.
you got to thank you, Madam President. The Community Development and Housing Committee met on Thursday, June 20th. We considered 14 resolutions that were submitted in a timely manner and one that was introduced during the meeting. The committee reported out 14 of those resolutions. So with that, I move to adopt the following resolutions: 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 82.
Nice. You sound like a professional auctioneer. I love it.
Maybe it's a
I love
second
it.
career when I'm all done
so
with this.
official. All right, I have a motion, and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
They need to be removed.
Oh, okay. I did skip a process. Hold on. It's like asking for public comment, and everyone stops you. Any resolutions to be removed at this time? No? Okay, so I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you, Mayor Woods. Good job. All right, I now call on Mayor of Arlington, Texas. This man needs no introduction. Mr. Jim Ross, good morning. And you are head of the Criminal and Social Justice Committee. So
Good
take it away.
morning,
The
Mayor
floor is
Sheehy.
yours.
Yes, ma'am. The Criminal and Social Justice Committee met on June 20th, 2024, and considered 14 resolutions submitted in a timely fashion. In addition, the committee considered one new resolution supporting congressional action codifying the ban of bump stocks. The committee reported out 15 resolutions for consideration at the business section. I now move for adoption of resolutions number 1, 8, 20, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 81.
Ooh, okay. Before I do that, do I have to ask any resolutions to be pulled? Just making sure. Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, great. I now call on New Bedford Mayor John Mitchell of the Energy Committee. Mayor Mitchell, please give us your
Madam
report.
President. All right, I am standing in for Energy Committee Chair Dan Rickman, who had to get back to Columbia earlier today, so it's my pleasure to tell you the following. The Energy Standing Committee met on June 20, 2024, and considered 3 resolutions submitted in normal order. The Energy Committee approved resolutions 39, 40, and 41, the latter two which had been passed also in the Environment Committee. They were all passed unanimously and without amendment.
Oh, good. Okay. You like that. See? I can tell. All right. Any resolutions to be pulled? Seeing that there are none, I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. Good job. I now call on Columbia, Missouri, Mayor Barbara Buffalo, Chair of the Environment Committee. At this time, Mayor Buffalo, please give us your report.
Thank you, Madam President. I told David that I am standing, even though he can't tell. The Environment
I know the
Committee.
feeling.
The Environment Committee met on Friday, June 21st. We had 10 resolutions submitted in a timely manner and one that was introduced during the meeting. The committee reported out all 11 resolutions, and I move to adopt the following resolutions: 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 91.
That's a lot. Okay. Any resolutions to be pulled? Seeing that there are none, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, thank you, Mayor Buffalo. I now call on the Oklahoma City Mayor, David Holt, acting chair of the International Affairs Committee. Mayor Holt, give us your report, please.
Thank you, Madam President. The International Affairs Committee met on Friday, June 21st. We considered 2 resolutions that were submitted in a timely manner, and I move to adopt the following 2 resolutions, 46 and 50. Thank you.
You're so easy. Okay. All right, any resolutions to be pulled? None? I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Bless you. Okay. Let's see. Next up, Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. How do we ever? I've heard your name pronounced. It's Gallego.
Mayor
Gallego.
Kate works. So
Mayor Kate. I've heard it pronounced like 3 different ways. So then I'm always like, am I pronouncing it right? Kate Gallego.
Perfect.
Okay, here we go. Chair of Jobs, Education, and the Workforce Committee. Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. The Jobs, Education, and Workforce Development Committee met on Friday, June 21, to consider 9 resolutions submitted in a timely manner. I move the adoption of resolutions 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 5, 31, 56, and 43.
All right, do you need her to repeat that? You got it?
It's my best auctioneer.
One more time. You are really good. One more time.
51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 5, 31, 56, and 43.
Good job, Mayor Gallego. All right, I have a motion. Do I have, oh, wait. Any resolutions to be pulled? Seeing that there are none, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, good job. I now call on Scranton Mayor Paige Cognetti, chair of the Metro Economies Committee. Take it away, Paige.
Thank you, Madam
Mayor.
President. The Metro Economies Standing Committee met on Thursday and unanimously adopted the following 11 resolutions. Numbers 57, 59, 60, 61, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, and 89. I move to adopt these resolutions.
All right, thank you. Any resolutions to be pulled? Seeing that there are none, do you need her to repeat those? Or are you good? He's good. He's on top of it. Okay, I have a motion. I have a second from Mayor Brooks. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Great job, Mayor Cognetti. Good. Okay, I now call on Chandler Mayor Kevin Hartke, member of the Technology and Innovation Committee. All right, good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Madam President. The Technology and Innovation Standing Committee met on Friday, June 21st, to consider 7 resolutions submitted in a timely manner and 1 new resolution introduced in the committee. So I move for the adoption of resolutions. Innovation is revolutionary. 7, 62, 63, 64, 66, 67, and 90.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Great job. Okay, any resolutions to be pulled? All right, I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, next up, Burnsville Mayor Elizabeth Kautz. She will give us the report from, oh, you get tapes, Tourism, Arts, Parks, Entertainment, and Sports Committee. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President. It's a pleasure to be here and to report out for tapes. So I'm standing in because Mayor Bibb and Mayor Scott from Florida are not present. So I am happy and proud to present The Tourism, Arts, Parks, Entertainment, and Sports Committee, they met on Friday at 8 a.m., Friday, June 21st, and we considered 12 resolutions. And the resolutions are 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 87, 92, and 93. And Madam President, I offer these resolutions and move to adopt.
All right, fantastic, great report. Okay, any resolutions to be pulled? Okay, I have a motion from Mayor Kautz. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mayor Hovland. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, the final report, sounds so official, will be given by Edina Mayor James Hovland. And you are the chair of our Transportation Committee, and you are doing a phenomenal job. I'm not sure you're sleeping, though, because you always have something going on in transportation. I love it. Okay, Mayor, give me your report, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. The Standing Committee on Transportation met on Thursday, June 20th, to consider 4 resolutions that were timely filed. Those resolutions were 77, 78, 79, and 80. They were unanimously adopted in committee, and I move the adoption of resolutions 77, 78, 79, and 80 before you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, any further resolutions to be pulled? Seeing that there are none, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second for Mayor Turk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, good job. Okay. We have before us the following resolutions which member mayors have requested to be set aside. We don't have any? Oh, right, good. They're so easy. My council would have like 35. Okay, here we will now discuss new resolutions. We don't have any? Okay, that's great. No new resolutions? Okay, well, no, I don't know. Okay, now let's see. Now what do we have to do? Okay, moving on up. Now I'd like to take a moment of privilege. Okay, this is important. So let me tell you something. Back here, none of this happens unless you have a stellar crew. And I honestly don't think the people that are on the other side of this wall are sleeping. They literally come to this conference to make all of us look good. And they're so kind back here. And I can't tell you how many times I'm almost fallen on my face because there's a lot of cords, and it's not their fault, it's my fault because I don't see well. But I just have to say, Ed, come on out, and Tova, please come on out for a minute. Come on. Because honestly, see, they're so shy, they don't want to come. Tova, Ed, hashtag Mayor made me do it. Come on. Come on. And then James, come on out. Come on, you guys. Come here. These are the MVPs of the conference. Come on. Come on. See, they don't like to be out front. They like to make everyone else look good. You guys love to make everyone else look good, but they are truly remarkable because they're the ones that keep you calm, on point, the lighting, everything that you do. It is not easy. You have a team back here that is pretty remarkable, and they're always kind, they're always in a good mood, but their main job is, they always say to me, Hillary, our job is to make you look good, sound good. We want to present an incredible product, and you should be proud. Are you proud? You guys are my MVPs. I'm gonna miss you guys. But I'll be here. I'll get to watch on the other side. But I do want to recognize there are people back there that are so, they're shy and they're wonderful. And they said, I absolutely do not want to be out in front of the stage. And I get that's why they work back here. But I would love it if you would pronounce their names because I might botch some of these. Tova, will you please thank all of these wonderful men and women back there because I've had almost 2 years to get to be with them. And so I'm just really grateful. Here, come on up. Future mayor right here, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor Shivi. I'm always in charge of putting the pronunciations in the prompter, and yet I did not prepare that for this. So So Mayor Sheevy would like to thank Chris Lawson, Technical Director, Jeff Galusha, Lighting Director, Morgan Sexton, Lighting Technician, Darren Bruce, Lighting Technician, Sarah Higgins, Audio Technician, Peter Blackwood, Audio Technician, Christian Shepard, Teleprompter, who's been with us for the last 3 conferences, Matthew LR, LED Screen, Noah Relihan, Speaker Timer, Dragos G. Dragomirescu, Audio Engineer, Jeremy Young, Video Technical Director, Nick Schaefer, Video Engineer, Rolf Johansson, AV Camera, and from the United States Conference of Mayors staff, David Burns, Executive Producer, Harold Riddle, Executive Producer, Yvonne Daly, Green Room Director, Tyler Harmon, Green Room Manager, of course, Ed Summers, James McCaffrey, Continuity Manager, Patrick Little, Production Manager from National Event Staff, Ben Case, Network Engineer, Patrick Relihan, E2 Operator, Doug Sadazan, Graphics Operator, and Brian Lemon, Graphics Operator. And that's everyone.
See? That's an army. So thank you guys, everyone back there. I love you. You're amazing. And I'm going to miss you, but you're going to continue to do a great job. So we will be, what are we doing next, Ed?
Dyer for the nominating committee report.
Oh, awesome. Okay, good. Here we go. Back to business. All right, the nominating committee report will now be given by the one and only Fresno Mayor Jerry Dyer. Take it away, Mayor Dyer. Yay!
Well, thank you, Madam President, and thank you for appointing me as the chair of the nominating committee. It's either a blessing or a curse.
Yes, for sure.
And I want to say thank you to all of those who served on the nominating committee this year, and for all of the lively discussions we had, as well as reviewing all of the material, including voting records of those applying. So, the 2024 nominating committee met on Friday, June 21st, and the following mayors were nominated for the following positions. For President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Mayor Andrew Ginther, Columbus, Ohio. Vice President, Mayor David Holt, Oklahoma City. Second Vice President, Mayor Todd Gloria from San Diego, California. And the following 3 members were recommended for trustee, nominated, and that is Mayor Justin Bibb from Cleveland, Ohio. Mayor Kate Gallego from Phoenix, Arizona. And Mayor Jim Ross from Arlington, Texas. The very shy and bashful Jim Ross. And the following 8 were nominated for the advisory board. And that is Mayor Arunan Arulampa. I'm like you, Mayor Sheevy. Arampalam from Hartford, Connecticut. Mayor Ethan Baker from Troy, Michigan. Mayor Lacey Beatty from Beaverton, Oregon. Mayor Barbara Buffalo from Columbia, Missouri. And Mayor Chris Jensen from Noblesville, Indiana. Mayor Heidi Lube from Tigard, Oregon. Mayor D.C. Rees from Pensacola, Florida. And last is Mayor Daniel Rickenman from Columbia, South Carolina.
Nice.
There you have the report.
All right, fantastic. Great job. You sound like a professional announcer, too. Don't you think? All right, any resolutions to be pulled? Seeing that there are none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you to all of our officers who were serving on that committee. Really appreciate all your work and time. Yes. Oh, now we're gonna, okay, perfect. Okay, here we go. We get to call up Mayor Ginther, Mayor Holt, Mayor Gloria, and obviously the director of the United States Conference of Mayors.
You're going to give this to Mayor Ginther.
I'm sorry it's not a tomahawk steak. Are you excited?
Thank you.
Oh, we have to hold it? Okay, how do we do this? Okay. All right. You got it? I guess I didn't get the memo we were wearing blue. Okay, we match. We match. Yay. I'm so excited for you. You're going to be amazing. Everywhere, but I think this concludes. Am I right, Tim?
Nope, we have a panel, so we're going to set some chairs and
Oh, now we
invite
have a
some
panel.
people on stage.
Okay. All right.
Please welcome the CEO and Executive Director of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Tom Cochran.
We have a very special panel today. We're so pleased that Jim Anderson is here from Bloomberg Philanthropies. He heads up government relations and innovations, and we're going to have a great panel on infrastructure, the future, and now. Come on out, group. Our new officers and Mr. Jim Anderson.
All right. It is great to join you. I think a little bit to celebrate not only a great relationship between Bloomberg Philanthropies and the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And Tom, I really want to thank you for stewarding that relationship over the last few years. It is my complete honor to be able to moderate a panel discussion with your newly elected leadership team. It's a great privilege. And Mayor Ginther, wow, we've known each other for 9 years, been working together for 8. The conference is in excellent hands. Mayor Holt, Mayor Gloria, what a terrific leadership team. Another round of congratulations to them. I also want to give a shout out to Jamie Lavin and Luke McGowan. Are you two in the room? So these are the two that really steward Bloomberg Philanthropies' relationship with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and they do an incredible job representing all of the programs that we've created over the years to help strengthen the capacity of city halls to solve problems in more ambitious ways. So Jamie, Luke, thank you for everything that you do. Our entire team at the foundation is focused on equipping cities with the tools they need to solve big problems. This commitment comes from Mike, from his experience as a mayor. He is the only major philanthropist in the world who has sat in your seats and understands both the incredible opportunity, but also the huge challenge that you have. And as you know, our team at Government Innovation, we now support so many programs that so many of you are a part of, from Bloomberg Harvard, to What Works Cities, to the City Data Alliance, City Lab, the iTeams programs, the Bloomberg American Sustainable Cities program, the Mayor's Challenge, and of course, the Local Infrastructure Hub, which we're so proud of. To set up the conversation today, I thought I would just sort of quickly say why we do all those particular programs. It really gets down to what kind of skills and capacities do we need in city halls for all of you to be effective in your roles today. I think if you look at the engine of the car of the city hall that we're all driving today, most of those engines were put into place at the last part of the last century. Great mayors can do pretty good things with outmoded cars, with outmoded engines, but at the end of the day, we also need to upgrade the engines in the city halls, bring in new skills, bring in new tools, bring in new capacities. That's really what the government innovation programs are all about. I've been working for mayors now for 20 years, 8 as Mike's in Mike's City Hall and 14 building the programs here. I am certain, I think Tom agrees with me, there has never been a harder time to be a mayor than today. The job has really shifted, and I think the big reason for that is that we are living in a time of incredible economic, political, social, ecological change, constant crisis. National problems, therefore, become local problems, and the last mile of success on every critical issue facing this country, from the environment to migration, comes down to you and sits on your shoulders. And that means the skills and capacities you need in your city hall are more than the skills and capacities needed to just run services and keep the trains running on time. We need city halls that can respond in crisis, adapt quickly to quick-moving change, and can seize extraordinary opportunities like those the 107th Congress put forward through the bipartisan infrastructure law, which asks our mayors to dream big about the way they can move forward in the new economy. So our conversation today is going to be focused on how are these mayors, your leadership team, building the new capacity, upgrading the engine of the car in their own hometowns to meet this moment. And we'll start with talking about historic federal funding. The federal government is now emphasizing through IRA, through the Infrastructure Act, the use of data, robust community engagement, a focus on underserved communities. How is this moment and that set of priorities changing the work and the way that you approach these kinds of initiatives back home? Mayor Ginther, why don't we start with you?
Well, good morning, and thanks for joining us, Jim, and thanks for your continued partnership with the U.S. Conference of Mayors in our cities across the country. I guess I would take a little bit different perspective on this. There are great challenges for mayors, but incredible, incredible opportunities. And we're positioned well in Columbus. There are two major issues that really get at the heart of this that we're working on right now. First of all, we are rewriting our zoning code for the first time in 70 years. We're going to grow by a third in our city over the next 20 or 30 years. At the end of last year, we're the fastest growing city in the country. And so that means we need to build and develop differently, particularly if we want to try to remain affordable for folks regardless of what they do for a living in our community. But one of the ways we're going to really leverage and take advantage of this unprecedented transformational opportunity with the bipartisan infrastructure law is around our Link Us Transit issue. This issue will be on the ballot this fall for growing our local match, but we've already started this work. And we have an opportunity to draw down $1 billion of infrastructure to really unlock the opportunity of our major corridors. That's also these major corridors. Transit corridors are also going to be our greatest opportunity to increase housing units. Our current code would allow for about 6,000 more units over the next 10 years. Our proposed code that we're putting before council in July would allow us to add 88,000 units, almost half of what we need in the region over the next 10 years. And so using data, that really extensive community engagement, I mean, when you're rewriting something for the first time in 70 years and having a transformational transit opportunity at the same time, that community engagement and looking at everything through that lens of equity is critically, critically important. But we're excited, and we would not be in this position without the bipartisan infrastructure law.
That's right. Thank you. Mayor Holt.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Jim, and the whole Bloomberg organization for all the support you give us. And before I answer your question, I really want to have fun with this echo we're having in the room right now.
Yeah.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. All right, cool. Sorry, just had to get that out of my system. Yes, I mean, we have, as you absolutely said, it is objectively true. It is a nonpartisan statement. We have more federal funding as cities than we've ever had in American history. And I think my favorite example in Oklahoma City of how we benefited from that is and it speaks to your question, is a Build Back Better grant of $35 million that to attain, we had to go through that extremely inclusive process. I mean, it was very public. It engaged our universities. It engaged our different economic development engines, both at the state and the local level. We had, essentially town hall meetings, pulling people together. And all of that was required by the grant. And I'd like to think we try to do things that way in any case. But certainly in the context of this, we had to. And ultimately, the grant is helping us diversify our economy. Oklahoma City is obviously historically, been overly reliant on one sector, oil and gas. That has certainly changed in recent years, and we're more into aerospace and other things, but this is focused on bio and tech, which is certainly, I think, a place where we actually punch below our weight historically, and we would love to see that sector of our economy add to our diversification. And so this $35 million grant, and that's not small potatoes. I mean, that is now assisting us as we move forward in trying to build out that infrastructure. But wouldn't have had probably as robust a process if not for the guidelines, which I think are very admirable, and hopefully we can carry those forward.
Yeah, thank you. Mayor Calora.
Well, Jim, I would say, if I may first, thank you all for this opportunity to sit on this stage. I love our conference. I'm grateful for the vote of confidence, and I look forward to working more with all of you. To this question, I would very much emphasize what our president just said. From my point of view, housing is our biggest challenge, and I think for many of us, as we propose additional housing, we're often asked, well, where's the infrastructure? And in many ways, the bipartisan infrastructure law gives us a chance to answer that with something affirmative and uplifting and investing. But I would say, Jim, one of the things that we're doing differently is this is competitive money, right? And we're having to compete against all each other, right? And one of the things that we've done in San Diego is this has forced us to build a table where rather than compete against each other, city versus county, regional planning organization versus transit agency, my government affairs team, led by the great Walt Bishop that many of you know and love, built a table where we're all collaborating and we're acting with one voice in our region. I don't know that that would have happened before. I don't know there would have been any reason to build that table absent this law. And I think this will be something that endures long beyond the funding cycle. This is something that is allowing us to operate like a region and really serve all of our residents. Bottom line, people generally don't know which jurisdictional level of government, right? They just want things to work. This is forcing us to answer that question in a way that I think would make Bloomberg proud.
Yeah, that collaboration capacity and the community engagement capacity that you both brought up required in the grant agreements, but also I think work that you all had been, muscles you all had been strengthening. So 9 years, 6 years in office, 4 years in office, a lot of mayoral experience on the stage. Mayor Ginther, what would you say is most different about the way your city hall operates today than when you first walked in the door 9 years ago?
Quick poll of mayors, the last four count as 15 or 20, right?
Agreed.
I didn't have gray hair, no. Jim and I were talking a little bit about this a few minutes ago. When I became mayor, I think we were still as a city, and probably a lot of cities around the country, pretty risk adverse. When you go to government, oftentimes you want every I to be dotted, every T crossed. You want to minimize risk at all costs. And only push out sure things. I think one of the things that's changed during my tenure, just based on what's going on in society, the amount of disruption and change and innovation that's taking place everywhere else. I think in Columbus, we are much more willing to take risks and innovate and try new things. And the public, they don't want wasteful spending. They don't want reckless, and risk-taking. They want informed, calculated risk, but if they see a commitment to continuous improvement and enhancements and trying to make things better for the people we serve, I think there's a greater support amongst our public for that innovation, engaging in disruption, as long as our North Star remains. How are we improving the lives of the people we serve and empowering them to improve their own lives as well? And so, whether it was the strong, our the city's challenge, the Smart Cities Challenge that we were able to secure and win, the unprecedented commitment from the public there. I think what we've seen over the last couple of years, whether it's involving parking, development, building permits, all these types of things, that's one of the things that changed the most. And I think given us an opportunity to really be creative and innovative in ways that maybe government, and particularly city government, hasn't had in the past.
Why do you think the public's tolerance for risk-taking has shifted?
I think their expectations are higher, too. I mean, if they are able to do things that they haven't been able to do, whether it's grocery shopping or anything else, at the click of a button and on their time frame when it makes sense to them, I think their expectation is that, particularly city government, where we're on the front line for basic city services, that their expectations are higher for us to be innovative and creative and deliver for them.
Yeah. Mayor Holt, a Mad Lib.
Cool, I'm ready.
How would you answer this? Running a municipal government today is far more blank and far less blank than it was when I first took office.
Okay. So I want to avoid recency bias, because it is easy to think that sometimes the things we face have never happened before. But I think there's at least two things that your question brings up that are definitely real trends, and actually in both cases that I'm thinking of, maybe negative ones, but there's hope because of this amazing crop of leaders you have here. But I'd say it's more ideological / partisan, and there is less scrutiny. And both of those things have certainly shifted, even in the 6 years that I've been in office. Obviously, we all know the national political environment. I do think that the people in this room have done a really effective job of pushing back against that, but we have to work on that every day, I don't know that our predecessors 20 years ago maybe thought as much about that or talked as much about it. I feel like I need to spend almost half of my time on the platform talking about how we're doing things and how we're going to do them in a unified, inclusive fashion, and we're going to find pragmatic solutions, and we're going to compromise. I shouldn't have to do this remediation. Kindergarten was supposed to take care of that, and I'm just supposed to talk about policy outcomes. But we have done, I think, an effective job, but we are definitely having to deal with a heightened partisanship, obviously. And the other thing, when I talk about less scrutiny, this is another thing that concerns me, and it's mostly the death of traditional media, and especially in our local communities. We have a press box in the city council chambers, and I look up at it, and it's empty, meeting after meeting, and that's for city council meetings. It is definitely empty for the planning commission meeting and all these other, our 50 bodies that used to get coverage in the newspaper, a document that people actually read and actually drove the conversation that day. I'm only 45, but in my first stint at City Hall as Mayor Cornett's chief of staff, what was in the paper that morning was what we talked about that day. Now, our polling shows it's being read by 10% of likely voters. So this is concerning to me, and I don't have an answer, but we're great guys, and maybe we don't need the scrutiny, but I worry about the future of democracy when people are not paying attention.
Yeah, well, it makes sense for you in your role to be spending your platform time having those conversations and making those reassurances, and it is interesting and I think challenging to think about how it also changes the role of the civil servants and the people on the front line bureaucrats dealing with the public every day.
Well, and it strikes me, David's comments. I saw a stat the other day that 60% of Americans are getting their daily news from social media.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, how do you work in a bipartisan, collaborative, cooperative way when 60% of the people we work for are listening to echo chambers that either reinforce why their ideas are good or why the opposition is so evil? And so it makes it for a much more challenging time, but we're up for it.
We are.
So Mayor Gloria, do you agree that the work has changed in critical ways? And if so, why don't you talk a little bit about what that means for city officials, for your teams, for the way they work, for the way that you're training them, for the way that you prepare them for the toughness of the daily work?
I love that question, Jim, because I do have 4 years of experience, but I actually was mayor of San Diego for 8 months, 10 years ago. We had a mayor resign, I took over, I was a caretaker, and so it's this interesting experience of 10 years ago and now. And I think one of the differences, and you all are dealing with this, is the direct personal nature of some of the criticism. All of us have been visited at our homes. My home has been vandalized. There was a shooting in front of my house. That didn't happen 10 years ago, but it's happened in this time. And to your question, Jim, I think that is no longer those of us who's put our names on the ballot. Our staffs are increasingly doxxed. They have these experiences. And I guess to answer your question specifically, I try and encourage many of the very young people who are on my staff to let them know that this is not normal, right? This is not how I came up when I was a staffer. This is not what it was like when I was a freshly minted city council member. And I have to believe that this will change, that this pendulum will switch back again. And so I don't want their formative experience in public service to be about this. I want to assure them to keep their eye on the prize, which is filling potholes and housing homeless people, and recognize that those distractions are in fact distractions, but hopefully temporary in nature, and that we will get back to something that resembles more the governance that many of us experienced earlier in our careers.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you. So, just thinking across the answers you all just gave, what are the skills, the trainings, the mentoring, what are you trying to foster in your city halls other than we hope that this ends and we get back to some sort of normal, but how are you making the staff more resilient? And what kind of new skills and capacities are you building to help them navigate the trickiness of the front line? David, I think you just are building an innovation program.
Yes.
That might have something to do
Yes,
with
and
this.
you know this because you are supporting it. Let me speak to it real quick. But when I came into office, and let me back up and say, like our government, like a lot of city governments, I think is fairly structured in a utilitarian way. I mean, just like the jobs we have are the jobs we absolutely have to have. But sometimes you really need some people that maybe aren't just fixing water pipes. I mean, they're like kind of bringing people together to kind of solve problems, think about things, And when I came into office, I recognized that a lot of cities had gone that direction, had created kind of innovation departments to cut across bureaucratic silos, because a lot of innovation is going to involve multiple departments, but almost no one is empowered in a city government to work on those things. And everybody is kind of focused on today's job, and you need somebody who can just kind of wake up every morning and sort of dream big. So one of my big asks to our city manager, and that's the form of government we have, was I would like to create a chief innovation officer. And so we did. And now Bloomberg has assisted that office with a fellow, Bailey Cyber. She is here today, and she is a part of our team now. And that kind of capacity, that kind of thought leadership is something that I think all city governments really need. And again, thank you for helping us to do that.
Great. So we're out of time, so I'm going to do one last question, and we'll just do rapid fire. What is the thing that gives each of you hope? That we got what it takes, or we can get what it takes to step up and rise to the challenges and seize all these opportunities that move you forward?
I think it's the people of my city and community. I would say that the sun is always rising in Columbus, and the people of our community, they understand the environment that we're in, but they're looking past that at the horizon, and really inspired by them and my staff. A great team that is doing incredible work for the people of Columbus, and that's pretty inspiring to me.
Mayors give me hope because you see it on the stage, you see it in this room. I mean, we're the people who oftentimes, because of the electoral process that we utilize, which is a whole other thing, and I wish the country would adopt it, we're able to bring together that 70% of normal people in the middle. And that's really where America is, and we reflect that. And I couldn't help but notice, I want to leave you with this, we have a Democrat mayor wearing a red tie, a Republican mayor wearing a blue tie, and Todd's got purple to bring us
There
all
you
together.
go. There you go. There you go.
So,
that is amazing.
what better symbol of, I think, the way we all govern, which is to bring our communities together, regardless of partisan labels.
You want to give us the final word?
That's attention to detail. I think what gives me hope is that in a short amount of time in my own city, I've been able to see a significant amount of change. I have tried to spend a lot of time, thanks to things I've learned through Bloomberg, to really invest in culture and shifting us to a culture of yes, and saying that, I may get this right, is it the Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take? Did I get that right? I'm a gay guy. I don't do sports now. But I hope I landed that correctly. But what I have seen is that when you tell people, I don't want to wait till I hear that Oklahoma City did it. I want us to do it first. And that you'll be judged and you'll be held accountable to whether or not we're innovating. That has been embraced by our workforce in a way that gives me hope that what I was saying a moment ago about this being temporary, that's true. If you can have that much change in a large organization with its culture in 4 years, what can you do with 8, and how do we build it going forward? I've seen people love public service, and this is the last word. We are mayors, but I think we also have to be missionaries for public service. We have to explain to people the importance of public administration, serving our communities. I hope that all of you will embrace that as a secondary role to your already very full plate of leading your cities.
Very hopeful. Please give your leadership team a warm round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
This session is now adjourned. We look forward to seeing you at the inaugural lunch starting at 12:45. Thank you.